and the films that we watch at Women's Voices now show us that as well. Women are so resourceful and they are so like intent on surviving that almost anything can happen, even a miracle, to save themselves and their loved ones. So it's a long way of answering your question, but like a lot of the things that you said, I really, they brought things up in my mind very clearly.
Yeah, not to be too crass, but you had mentioned, for example, when men say like masculine coded words like, oh, he's got balls, that means that
Yeah.
he's strong, he's courageous and things like that. But I do find it really strange that like the female anatomy, that's the weakest thing you could be when
It
that
makes no sense.
is not
No sense.
the case.
Nonsense.
I find it really strange how in society it feels like most everything that is considered feminine is seen as a negative. I found out recently that back in like I think the 40s that the color pink was originally a masculine color, but
Right.
now if a man wears pink, all of a sudden that's the worst thing in the world. And I just think that there's certain linguistic bias that reinforces like these gender power imbalances and I guess even societal expectations, I feel like men to an extent, well, I don't know because I'm not a man, but I feel like there are men who feel like they can't exhibit feminine traits without being perceived as weak. And
For sure. Yeah.
I think that's problematic. I think that I I guess classically feminine traits are insanely powerful, and I feel like everybody should um, really tap into their femininity, whether they're a man or a woman. I think that that's incredibly powerful, and I think very much needed. I think that there's even scientific studies saying that there's an empathy um, deficit in our country right now. I think that and being called emotional, being called um, sensitive, those are negative things. Those are associated with being too feminine, but those are very powerful things. Those are very much necessary. And tying back to something you said earlier about the narrator in the film being seen kind of like as this crazy person, I think that to an extent in my day-to-day, routine, I feel a little neurotic when I'm walking out at nighttime, when I'm walking to my house at night. I feel like, am I doing too much? But it's also a necessity, to have, your keys in your hands as a potential self-defense weapon, to have a little thing of pepper spray. It might feel a little excessive from the outside looking in, but I think that at the end of the day, it's necessary. It's a possibility. And
Yeah.
I think that the film did, uh, I think that was a really good choice to make her seem a bit crazy
Oh
because
yeah.
sometimes I feel a bit crazy doing all
Oh,
that.
yeah, it was a very authentic representation. Yeah, and it's part of like I'm a very empathetic person and like that film is so strong in like making you feel what she feels that I don't want to feel it. There's like a lot of other things to feel right now. So I think yeah, and that's what I was saying is that it's such an amazing visual representation of like fear that makes you crazy, but you have to hold on to it to preserve yourself, right? So like she doesn't have the luxury of letting that go. Like you don't either, it sounds like, right? Like so in that it's not like that's not the wrong like you need to have a little bit of crazy fear in
Mhm.
order to protect yourself, right? And that is a good thing. And I feel like she in her film she validates that, right? Because she's like, this is just the truth. This is my lived experience, and this is how I have to walk around in the world. And I think